There are millions of animals who are being put down each year because there are not enough people who are willing to adopt an animal from an animal shelter. But instead, they are buying pets from pet stores or from pet breeders. Adopting as a pet is a much easier and a better way than buying one. Adopting a pet can also cost a pretty penny. According to bestfriends.org, adoption costs range from $50 to $200, while buying a pet can easily cost you about $500 to $1,000. As a show of hands, how many of you hate to see an animal being put down? For sure, all of us, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, if you are on the verge of getting a pet, please consider adopting one from an animal shelter and saving them. These poor animals need an owner, a friend, a family, and most importantly, a home. After fully and thoroughly researching this topic, we hope to share some of our knowledge that we gained about this pressing issue with you. If you love animals, you should consider adopting a pet or contributing to the cost to reduce overpopulation in shelters and the prevalence of puppy mills and pet breeders. So today, we'll be talking about the issues of surrounding breeders and overcrowded animal shelters, the ways you can get involved to help save animals' lives, and what your life will look like if you did, and how you can take action.
According to HumaneSociety.org, 2.4 million adoptable dogs and cats are euthanized in the United States each year, about one every 13 seconds. There are too many reasons why this is a prevalent problem. First of all, too many pets in shelters, while too few people consider adoption when looking for a pet, as stated by HumaneSociety.org. Second, most people want cute or pure breeds of dogs. This increases the demand for pure breeds and puppies compared to the demand for adolescent and adult dogs, which what puppies become after a few months. As a result of this, the third reason for this problem emerges. The more demand for puppies and pure breeds there are, the more irresponsible breeders and puppy mills see puppies as a profit. Therefore, mass production of puppies increases as well. The last contributing factor for this problem are the irresponsible pet owners, as stated by the author Melissa Risen of the Journal of Applied Companion Behavior. Risen argues that although irresponsible guardians are not necessarily mass-producing puppies, they contribute to the problem by choosing not to sterilize their dogs, either because of financial issues or because of ignorance. And because of this, many unwanted pets by their owners are in the shelters. Buying pets from pet stores or breeders leads to overpopulation of pets in shelters, and it supports overbreeding of animals in places such as puppy mills. According to the article Buying and Selling of Dogs by Mary Randolph, at a typical puppy mill, you'll find overbreeding, inbreeding, minimal veterinary care, poor quality of food and shelter, continuous confinement in crowded cages, lack of socialization, and extreme neglect of animals. Furthermore, animals in puppy mills are more likely to be exposed for malnutrition, parasites, and chronic disease. In the article Puppy Mills Misery for Sale by Pamela Sachs, it was described by witnesses that animals are being fed maggot-infested food and confined to chicken coops filled with their own waste. The pups, suffering from skin infections and sores, receive no veterinary care. Kennel cough, diarrhea, parasites, and chronic ear infections are routine. Moreover, puppies have not been socialized and tend to act in disturbing and aggressive ways, making them poor risks as pets. They are touted as pure breeds, but their lineage is often haphazard, resulting in eye and heart abnormalities, hip dysplasia, and genetically linked health problems. And sadly, many are destroyed or discarded once they can no longer produce puppies.
Now that we've addressed the problem, let's talk about how you can be a part of the solution. There are many ways you can help prevent overpopulation in shelters and stand up against puppy mills and breeders. First and foremost, go to your local animal shelter and adopt a dog or cat in need. If you are interested in owning a pet, make the economic and humane effort of adopting rather than buying from a pet store or breeder. Although it is tempting to buy a newborn puppy of your favorite breed, Just remember where the puppy is coming from. Buying animals from breeders makes you complicit in animal cruelty by making it profitable. Meanwhile, there are perfectly good pets in shelters who are on death row just waiting for someone like you to walk through the door. However, the reality is that we cannot all adopt animals. As Jen already mentioned, getting yourself involved as a pet parent without the proper research, preparation, and financial resources is part of the reason why so many animals end up abused and back in shelters. Luckily, there are alternative ways to help out that I guarantee will be practical for everyone. After adoption, the next best thing you can do is foster. Hannah White, in her 2013 article about fostering, explains that fostering is the temporary housing of animals who require a little more help than what's available in animal shelters. Foster parents usually assist in house training puppies and kittens, help care for special needs pets, and rehabilitate and show love to abused animals. Foster parents are incredibly important because they help socialize pets and make them more adoptable. In addition, White adds, they help ease the burden of overpopulation in shelters, which extends the lives of animals as a result. Although the role of the foster parent is temporary, it is still a highly demanding job that requires time and money. So if fostering is too much for you, you can volunteer at an animal shelter. If you love animals but don't have the time or money to commit to owning one, volunteering at an animal shelter is a great choice for you. As stated by the Tri-City Animal Shelter, an animal shelter is not an ideal home for any pet, but you can help improve the lives of these animals by giving them plenty of attention, walking them, and playing with them, all of which would be your main jobs as a volunteer. By volunteering, you are helping to make an animal shelter a comfortable transition home for pets before they get adopted. However, maybe you don't have time to volunteer. That's okay because you still have options, such as sponsoring or donating. One way you can help prevent animal homelessness is through sponsoring. Sponsoring allows you to donate to a particular animal's journey of finding a forever home. Money from animal sponsorships is used to spay and neuter and give proper medical care to the animal you choose to sponsor. Alternatively, you can choose to donate money to animal shelters or other organizations that help benefit the lives of animals. Nonprofit organizations and animal shelters are often severely underfunded or not publicly funded at all, so private donations like yours help these organizations continue to run and save animals' lives. But maybe you're reluctant and still telling me, no, I have no time and no money. Well, there's still one way you can be a part of this cause: education. If you have nothing left to give, you can still educate yourself and educate others. If you have pet owner friends, make sure they know the importance of spaying and neutering their animals, so they don't end up with offspring that they don't have the resources to care for. If you have friends who are looking to buy a pet, encourage them to adopt instead of buying from a breeder. And if they do decide to adopt, make sure they are fully researched on their animal choice and are prepared to take on the responsibility of becoming a pet parent. Spread the word on social media of animals in shelters needing a home. Become an advocate against puppy mills and breeders. There is always, always something you can do. All of these are proven solutions that work, and it's pretty clear why. Choosing to adopt not only tackles the problem of overpopulation in animal shelters directly, but helps to eradicate puppy mills and breeders. Every animal adopted is an animal that didn't get purchased from a breeder. Puppy mills, breeders, and pet stores are all businesses, and if people stop buying from them in favor of adopting, they won't be profitable, and if they aren't profitable, we're going to start seeing them disappear. In addition, fostering, volunteering, sponsoring, and donating are all proven ways to help prevent overpopulation in shelters. Fostering keeps animals outside of shelters by putting them in temporary homes. Volunteers help animal shelters accommodate more animals than what they could without them. Sponsoring and donating help expand an animal shelter's capacity to care and house animals. Finally, education has improved and continues to improve the issue of shelter overpopulation and the mistreatment of animals by breeders and puppy mills. After all, if people don't know there's a problem, how will they know to fix it? Jennifer Sexton and Don Warhol, in their 2016 article about animal overpopulation, explained that the Humane Society of the United States' aggressive attempts to educate the public about the sterilization of their animals has resulted in a significant decline in the number of cats and dogs euthanized each year. According to the ASPCA, the number of euthanized pets in 2011 went down by 2.6 million from the previous year due to the increase in the number of animals being adopted. It is evident that improvements are possible, and more animals could be saved with your help.
With the problem addressed and the solution given, let's look at how the lives of us and the animals can change. Adopting an animal from an animal shelter not only will change your life for the better, but will also change the life of the animal you adopt. Instead of being caged for the rest of their lives, you will be allowing an animal to enter your beautiful and loving home instead of being locked up in a cold and lonely jail cell. As Jen stated earlier, about 2 million animals from shelters are euthanized each year to make space for more animals needing sheltering. The number of these innocent animals getting euthanized will go down as more and more people decide to adopt from animal shelters, or even just support your local animal shelter. The Puppy Mill Project states that there are 10,000 puppy mills in the US, and as more and more people start using animal shelters, the need for puppy mills will decrease, and eventually puppy mills will decrease too. Going to a shelter and adopting a loving four-legged companion will give you a feeling like no other. Knowing that you are saving a life is an extremely gratifying feeling, and the love and affection your new four-legged critter will show you is like no other. Not only will you be changing the life of the new cute animal you just adopted, but you will be also freeing up space for the next animal who needs sheltering in an animal shelter. Also, you could expect your hard-earned money that you pay for taxes to go to better things rather than paying for the euthanization of animals. There are many benefits that one will start experiencing when adopting an animal from the shelter. Do you have a test the next day? A lot of stress on your plate? Well, the new loving dog you just adopted can help reduce your stress levels. Elena Barnard, writer of Animal Friends and owner of 2 rescued pets herself, states that the close relationship that dogs have with their owners help people that suffer from ailments such as depression and anxiety. Who knows, maybe the next upcoming speech is stressing you? Well, your newly adopted animal can help you with that. In return for saving them, your new pet will show you unconditional love, and they will continue to love you at your lowest points. You will have an ever loving and faithful companion. You can be an example to others as they stare in awe to the beautiful and adorable new pet you adopted. You can influence others to adopt from animal shelters as well, or support animal shelters. As you walk your dog, your social encounters will increase as well, and you can tell stories of your pet and how you rescued him, influencing others to adopt as well. If people start ignoring animal shelters and instead buy from breeders, the world will be more grim as we know it. The amount of animals who need space in an animal shelter will keep increasing, but the amount of space needed to keep these loving animals will not. According to the article, Give Me Shelter, the state of animal sheltering in Kentucky County Shelter System, the state of Kentucky has an estimated 285,000 dogs and cats enter the shelter, but only 15% are adopted. So about 40,000 are adopted out of the 285,000 that enter each year. And even though the state's Kentucky, that gives you like a general idea of how it could be in California as well. Animal shelters will not be able to keep up with the amount of animals being entered versus the amount of animals leaving. With all the animals entering the shelter, volunteers will not have time to spend with every animal, and many animals will just wither away by themselves lonely. No animal that shows this much amount of love should be subject to that. A dog wags his tail and jumps around when he encounters a human, but instead of staring at the open hands of a welcoming human, this dog may be staring at a needle, so the shelter can make space for another dog. As Pamela Barlow, a behavior counselor at the ASPCA Adoption Center, stated, every puppy that is purchased, another is waiting even longer in a shelter for their home. If we do not solve the problem, animal shelters will continue to become crowded, and they will not be able to sustain and give proper care for the animals that they deserve. Puppy mills and irresponsible irresponsible breeders will continue to prosper and overbreeding animals. We humans are responsible for the problem. We are the targeted consumers for the mass-produced puppies from puppy mills. We have to make a stand against puppy mills and breeders. It's time to adopt.
So, all of these reasons are why you should consider on adopting an animal before planning on getting or buying one. It is much better for you and for the pet by just simply adopting one. Adopting a pet is much easier and it will cost you less money than buying one. So again, buying pets from either pet breeders or from pet stores can and will lead to overpopulation of pets in shelters. In addition, it also supports overbreeding of animals in places. Like the article that we mentioned, Buying and Selling Dogs by Mary Randolph. At a typical puppy mill, you'll find overbreeding, inbreeding, minimal veterinary care, poor quality, and food shelter, continuous confinement in crowded cages, lack of socialization, and extreme neglect of animals. So, if you are planning on getting a pet, please consider adopting one rather than buying one, and you can do this by simply visiting the Tri-City shelter on Stevenson Boulevard, right across from Lake Elizabeth. Or you can even do some research online and finding the pet that you really enjoy. Some organizations to consider donating to include the Tri-City Animal Shelter, the Best Friends Animal Society, and the Fury Friends Rescue. Nowadays, there are some really simple methods of donating. How many of you use Amazon.com? Okay. How many of you use Amazon Smile, if you're familiar with Amazon Smile? Okay. If you don't use Amazon Smile, you definitely should. Amazon Smile works just like Amazon, except you choose a nonprofit organization, and Amazon donates 0.5% of the purchase price of all qualifying purchases to the selected organization. This is a very simple and a small way to help out. And there's a wide variety of animal shelters and animal rescue organizations to choose from. Although 0.5% may sound like a small amount, Amazon Smile has already helped raise nearly $3 million for the ASPCA, or the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. So, there's obviously a lot of thinking while getting a pet, but if you are considering of getting one, like I said, please adopt one. Adopting can do so much for the animal. By simply adopting a pet, you are saving their lives and avoiding being put down due to the overpopulation of pets in animal shelters. You are doing so much for the animal by just adopting. You are giving the pet an owner, you're giving the pet a home to live in, and also you are giving the animal the love that they never had. Thank you.